Good afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Today is November 6th, 2025. And I get roll call, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm having one technical difficulty. Let me update the PowerPoint presentation. Just a moment. Thank you, everybody. Patience while we.
We're getting ready.
Okay, I had a little glitch.
Damn. I think you're on the wrong drive. Fix it.
Big presentation.
It's just go 1% at a time.
While we're waiting for the PowerPoint to load, can I check in with the members who are joining us online? Can you hear us in the room?
Hi, Tammy. Yes, we can hear through the microphone pretty well. Hearing the rest of the room is a little bit spotty.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone have a good transportation joke?
My name and name.
I
am the worst when it comes to jokes. I can compare a joke to same. Why did the chicken cross the road? There's no transportation.
How did they cross?
They were too scared to cross because there's 60 people gators.
See, there you go.
No, because of the new wildlife.
Oh, that's what I forgot to. North south went.
Yeah.
You see a chicken on that new wildlife crossing. Some investigation. We might not see some chickens, we might see some turkeys.
Madam Chair, we have the correct presentation up on the screen and I've shared it with members online. I think we're ready to begin with the roll call.
Roll call, please.
Roll call for our executive board members. We have Miranda Sweet, Vice Chair, City of Flagstaff, Chair of the Board.
Here.
Judy Begay, Coconino County Board of Supervisors, Vice Chair.
Here.
Austin Aslin, Flagstaff City Council Member. Not present. Tony Williams, Mountain Line Board of Directors.
Present.
Becky Daggett, Mayor of Flagstaff. Not present. Jamasita Peshlikai, Arizona State Transportation Board Member.
Present.
Geronimo Vasquez, Coconino County Board of Supervisors. Patrice Horstman, Coconino County Board of Supervisors alternate. Not present. Anthony Garcia, Flagstaff City Council alternate. Not present. Also joining us, we have MetroPlan staff, Kate Morley, Executive Director. David Wessel, Planning Manager. Cami Sucovieco, Business Manager, here. Mendia Gonzalez, Transportation Planner.
Here.
Kim Austin, Transportation Demand Management Planner.
Here.
Melanie Nagel, Montoya Fellow. Not
excused.
Thank you. And Haley Bishop, Safe Routes to School AmeriCorps member.
Excuse.
Madam Chair, after the roll call is completed, I see that.
Thank you. Moving down to item there any public comment? At this time, any member of the public may address the board on any subject within their jurisdiction that is not scheduled before the board on that day. Due to open meeting laws, the board cannot discuss or act on items presented during this portion of the agenda. To address the board on an item that is on the agenda, please wait for the chair to call for public comment at the time the item is heard.
Since I'm here, I'll do public comment. Dapper Dre, most of you know me from at least some role or other. I think it's really cool to get to be a part of the listening session. I think everybody could agree that when you get the ear of ADOT, you take it as best you can, because we all know that it's mostly crickets from them a lot of the times. So I would echo what you have kind of given to them as task or feedback is communication in general to your constituents, to the public, to your interest groups. I feel like one of our greatest assets, of course, is education, and that I feel is often lacking in some of these plans when they get rolled out, how they get rolled out, or why they get rolled out. The general public just doesn't know, right? They also don't know certain forces that not only are budgetary, but also like a simple, we have this new roundabout videos, which I think are great, you know, again, education. But some of the underlying things that the public doesn't know is like, the general public has no idea what induced demand is. Is there a way to educate people to say, hey, we can add that other lane, but in 2 years, it's gonna be worse than you started at. So just so you know where your investment is going, oftentimes it's just adding rope to your own, hanging noose. So clear communication, not only how, why, but also sticking to our guns in the sense that if we're gonna say it's for safety, being okay with saying it's for safety, being decisive, and not always, that might not go in the favor of cars sometimes, which is, I think oftentimes where we get a default vision is level of service for car is above every single thing. And dialing that back to community character, and again, education, because it's not, we, of course, we put in awesome infrastructure that will make the baseline safer, but at the same time, if nobody's gonna listen or care, then they're gonna use it or abuse it however they default to. So clear lines of communication and education, I think, are also a paramount for MetroPlan, for the city, to just the general public, because I feel like sometimes that doesn't happen. And maybe that is a little bit more budget in the realm of commercials or programming that gets into schools, because I think that's a huge one. We have safe routes to school as a consideration, but do we have continuing education about why you could not pick a car, how easy it is to take transit, what is actually happening to our roads when they're overused? A certain amount of education outreach helps the general public understand a little bit more, either why they could get something done or why it won't absolutely happen ever, just because of the constraints that we're all underneath. Thank you.
Moving down to approval of minutes. I can get motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Thank you. Consent agenda, it does not look like we have anything. So I'm going to move down to action items. First is the consideration and possible action regarding Safe Streets Master Plan contract.
Madam Chair, David Wessel with the MetroPlan Planning Manager. Really excited about this item. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on it diligently. I'm pleased to have with me today the project management team, CP here, Chris Fair, with the city, Mandia Gonzalez. We're your local agency project managers on this project. And we also have today Vamshi Yelisetti and Philistativus online, who are, if all goes well, will be the managers from Kittleson, who we're recommending receive this award. So here's the rather lengthy motion we're looking for. We can break this down if we need to, but we're looking to approve a master contract with Kittleson Associates for the Safe Streets Master Plan, and then to authorize the director to execute task order 1 in the amount of $2,038,847, which is inclusive of a 15% contingency. And then 3, delegate authority to the executive director to shift funds between components using the 15% contingency pool with approval from project partners. And we'll talk about that in a little more detail. So very lengthy, and if we need to break that down, we can do that. So what I want to do for you today is give you an overview of what we really intend to do through the Safe Streets Master Plan project. By background, we just mentioned the size, but that's size of that contract comes from a $2.1 million Safe Streets and Roads for All grant that the city put in. Really important partner with the city of, that MetroPlan put in, and with a really important partnership with the city of Flagstaff. $500,000 in cash and prizes, cash and in-kind contribution, and then some participation also from Coconino County and Mountain Mine. There's really 4 major pieces, and we'll go into more detail on these, but complete street guidelines, engineering standards and codes, this online mapping tool, and then project planning, and the master plan being really the umbrella under which all of those will fall. We have done extensive scoping before we released this request for proposal. Over 30 interviews with different stakeholders. We were fortunate enough to receive 6 proposals for some highly qualified firms, and we elected with this multi-agency, multidisciplinary review team to interview 2 of them, and Kittleson was selected, and kind of hard to read, apologize for that, but they received I think 5 out of 7 number 1 votes in their proposal, and I think there was a 1 number 2 and 1 number 3. And then unanimous support of the 2 firms, unanimous for Kittleson in selection. Since that time, we have been in multiple meetings with Kittleson, refining the scope, talking back with primarily the city of Flagstaff, making sure we're really set up for success. And that's the scope that we have in the contract today. And really appreciative of the work Chris did to, kind of that shuttle diplomacy with city staff, as well as the accommodation and consultation really we received from Kittleson. So again, a fairly busy slide, but this is the schedule. We're looking at wrapping up in 2028. You can see the multiple steps or components to this: project management, community engagement. And there's 3 primary phases to community engagement. One during this foundation and adoption process, where we really start getting into visioning, and then another during the development of the master plan and the complete street guidelines, and then the third towards the end as we move into the adoption process. I will emphasize for adoption, we're looking at really 2 deliverables. One is an update to our regional transportation MetroPlan. So this board, this body, will be adopting that. But then the other, this is a city master plan. And so we were very clear in the scope. This has to go through a specific plan process, meet all the state and city requirements, and go through adoption in the city process. One of the things that we'll be doing in components 3 and 4 is working with Kittleson to identify gaps in policy, where policy and our codes don't align, gaps in our policy where our systems don't align. And those are the things that we'll be looking to address, fill in those gaps and expand to meet the vision that's set. And so if you recall, in the city of Flagstaff, the last cap, the land applicability, suitability study, and code something. So close. Yeah. Yeah. So the really kind of a similar process there. The city really looking more at the city's housing and carbon neutrality, and how are our codes helping fulfill those policies. This will be a similar process relative to transportation. So Joe mentioned the complete street guidelines, policy and code, and highlighted practices revision. Really want to, again, give a kind of kudos to Martin Ince, that some, our practices and making sure that they're supportive of our multimodal ambitions. We really want to review those. We'll have, as a deliverable, a dashboard and interactive map where all of these things come into play, and a very strong implementation plan. And the last piece is Kittleson will be by our side during that formal adoption process to answer questions. So what do these things look? Well, how does the organization look like? You can see, the RTP on your left, master plan on the right, with the executive board and council really at the top, with the support from their respective bodies, the TAC from MetroPlan, and the various commissions for the council. We are going to have that POC is a project oversight committee, which will work with our project management team for those major transition points to make sure from a budgetary perspective, we're on track. We'll have representatives from a key management position, make sure the pieces are being compliant with the adoption process, meeting some legal expectations. And you see off to the left, escalation. I think we've had conversations with you in the past that we do expect there's going to be policy tensions that need to be resolved. There's going to be challenges working with ADOT that need to be resolved. And this will be, we're going to try to work our best to resolve those project management team level and within the stakeholders group. But then there's that project oversight committee. And, some of these are policy discussions that will need to take place here at the executive board or city council, possibly on occasion with Mountain Lions board of directors or board of supervisors. So the project management team will be working with their respective advisors. So, Chris Fair works with Jeff Hammond, the city traffic engineer. There in the office with Sarah Dector. Expect them to be heavily involved to make sure this transportation plan is really serving those larger purposes of the regional plan that's in the process of being adopted. And then way down there at the bottom, but playing a very big role, our consultant team. And it's I actually don't have a slide to show the numerous sub-consultants. We had some question and concern when they came forward. I think they had 7 sub-consultants. But then in their presentation, they made it clear that this is a multidisciplinary, multi-agency effort, and they were bringing the expertise and the firepower in terms of just the staff resources to really make this happen and keep it on pace. They expressed a concern that, we had 4 years. They expressed concern just to maintain staff continuity over that time is a challenge, but then to maintain public interest and momentum be a challenge. So really appreciated that aspect of the presentation. Very busy. Basically, what this says is it's going to be an iterative process. It's going to go through the project management team. When it needs to, it's going to go to the project oversight committee, and at key milestones, it's going to come to our TAC commissions and then board and councils. And the dashed line is that it's going to go back. These pieces, the complete street guidelines, transportation master plan, even the code revisions are all iterative. And we're going to have discovery where it's like, you know, these things aren't working together the way we want to. Let's kind of go back, revisit this, and go through the cycle again. So let's talk a little bit about some of these things that we're going to end up with. And I'll pause here. Maybe I'll pause a minute to see if there's any questions about some of the process. And we're going to describe some of the deliverables. And I'll take breaks to see if Vamshi or Phyllis have anything to that they want to add or correct in terms of the presentation. But are there any questions at this point, Madam Chair?
Any questions?
Okay. So let's go into some of the deliverables. And on the left of the slide there is phase one of the community engagement, is that listen first and go through the visioning process. You can see a description of what they intend to do. On the right is examples of from another plan that we came across, you know, some of the things that may be described in terms of what we're trying to achieve through safety and accessibility, that, you know, what we mean by connections, what it, you know, the kind of community we're trying to support through transportation. And as part of this opening phase, along with the visioning, they're going to be reviewing existing plans, reviewing existing conditions, helping us develop those criteria, and using those criteria help to identify those gaps that we really have within our systems and policies and codes. Then there's this process, the vision on the bottom left is it appears in different variations, but it's to recognize that as a region, we really have a change in character from rural on the far left to an urban core. And the transportation needs will vary as that character varies. And that's really what the idea of complete street guidelines get to, that not only do we have different streets, they have to behave differently in different areas. And so phase two of the engagement process is that's this co-creation of that path forward for the transportation master plan and the complete street guidelines. So as those are developed, you develop these material, well, this is an example from Missouri where they did a blueprint for arterials. We'll be looking at our arterials collectors and some broad discussion for our local roads. But really, you know, what are those contexts? They need to align with the new regional plan. And then starting to define what each of those road types look like. So I'm going to go through a couple more slides and then we'll take a pause. So as I mentioned, you know, in the regional plan, you know, we have urban areas, suburban areas, and districts planned. And so these place contexts need to really align with that. And here's a couple examples. One's from Denver. I think one is from Gilbert, where these are actually mapped out. So as our transportation facilities move through these different areas, they should look and behave differently. And that's really what we want to define. So any questions about place context or any, I'll look for questions and I'll see if Vamshi or Phyllis have any comments. But Vamshi or Phyllis, any comments that you'd like to make on the idea of place context or the concept there?
Sure, Dave. No, definitely the context or land use context along the roadways plays a significant role in the future design of the roadways. And this is one that we'll be working with the city departments to make sure that we get this right. And that really defines based on what context there is along each street, what type of cross-section makes sense. So that's kind of the reason to make sure that not just developing guidelines, but also to look at real data within the city to map the context and then come up with the cross-sections for each street.
Great, thank you, Vamshi. And speaking of road types and cross sections, so here's the various road types. Again, I think this is an example from Denver, and you can see, they have downtown collector, industrial arterial. So some of these things are starting to align themselves with the place types in that particular example. And then you get into these guidelines, which will really inform the codes. And here's an example where you can see some of the key characteristics, the speed, number of lanes and volume that are anticipated, design elements, and then some graphical representation of what they might look like. Another example of what complete street guidelines might look like. I believe, again, this was from Denver. So yeah, some maybe slightly bigger buildings illustrated there than we might have. But one of the things I thought was interesting about this, there's kind of a guide on the far left. It's like, this is what happens between the curbs, at the curb line, and outside the curbs. And then you can see on the far right, here's a range of tools that you can use in each of those locations. In the kind of center there where it says typical modal priority, on any given street, you should be able to go to that part in your interactive map and say, what's my focus? What's my emphasis? And so if there's a constrained situation where maybe right of way is narrow, where are we leaning towards from a modal perspective, and what do we need to give precedent to? And so then there's the different considerations. So all of this really should help with decision making. So as developers come in, and what are they being asked to do in the public right of way? This should really describe a lot. And I'm going to take before I go to questions, one of the things that we also want to start illustrating in this are some of those operations and maintenance implications. Maintenance has been a big part of the conversation. And it's really easy to paint a pretty picture, and you can see lots of trees in this one. Well, trees have implications for maintenance. And so we want to understand those things and make sure those things are appropriately budgeted for. And this kind of back to some of those policy discussions. Some of those are going to obviously align around funding, the art of the possible, and trade-offs. So I'm going to pause there to see again if you have any questions about what the guidelines might look like, and then we'll see if Vamshi or Phyllis have anything. Yeah.
I feel like Flagstaff is unique because our community really wants to be involved in this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And how are we planning? I love what I'm hearing, but how are we planning to make sure we're bringing our community along with us as we go through?
That is an excellent question for Vamshi. So Vamshi, would you, and before he begins, we, in those discussions with Kittleson to date, we've talked about fleshing out the public participation, community engagement plans. And one of the first things they'll deliver is a more robust plan. So he can speak broadly to this, but we'll be coming back to you. That'll be, I think, a milestone deliverable that says, are you happy with how we're going to engage the public? So with that, Vamshi, anything that you or Phyllis would like to add to that?
Actually, Dave, I think Phyllis will do a much better job than me describing the engagement part of it. Go for it.
I don't know about that, but I'll try. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Phyllis Hugel. So that's a really great question, and we do want this really to be a plan that is representative of the variety of voices and ideas within the Flagstaff region. So as Dave mentioned, we will be developing a really detailed public engagement plan and process throughout this at the beginning of this project. And so a couple of items that we're looking to do to kind of really help get all of the voices is we aren't just relying on public meetings, hoping people will show up and attend. We're looking to create community advisory groups that's made up of kind of our natural community leaders that will be the voices for our residents or community members. Look at that. And we'll also have a stakeholder I'm jumping ahead for you. Sorry.
No, I had something in there, more information. I'm sorry, keep going.
We'll also have a stakeholder advisory committee. So that's will be made up of our community organizations, key businesses, developers, buyers, schools, all of that. So there's going to be a lot of touch points throughout this process of going out to the public, getting their feedback, taking that in, put it in with our data analysis, and then going back out to the public again, saying, this is what we heard last time. Is this still the case? And helping us kind of refine through the process. So I think there's going to be a variety of touch points and a variety of methods that community members can be a part of this process. And so really the goal through the community engagement plan is tracking how we're engaging people, making sure that all voices are heard, all different types of voices are heard as well. And so we can be flexible and tailor approaches for the next phase to make sure that we are really representing all of the community members in Flagstaff. And I hope that helped answer your question a bit.
And Phyllis, I do want to point out, I serve as vice mayor for Flagstaff, and we have a lot of commissions and community organizations that I know will want to be part of this. So if we can make sure that we've got a good, robust list of the commissions and different people in town that, like the FBO, will want to be in on this, and, you know, making sure that we're reaching out to the broad community, but hitting those more focused groups as well.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. We definitely want to piggyback off all current activities. And so being, if you guys can be cognizant as well of letting us know when those meetings are occurring and we can participate in those, and vice versa, we can ask those community members to participate in our meetings as well.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And just to, add to that, the project management team will be, heavily involved, leveraging, in their presentation, Kittles had said, we really want to be seen as an extension of staff and kind of, maybe on the flip side, we want to be seen as an extension of the consulting team. They can't be everywhere all the time, but we can be, eyes and ears and hands and feet and appear before commissions and pass information to the consultants that we think is important. So yeah, we're all committed to achieving that broad community outlet Phyllis just described. Here's another image, again, kind of highly graphical, tying from an image of a street into detailed information. And I think that one actually got reorganized. It's supposed to be a city street, but anyway, it ties back into the, a quick jump from a streetscape image to a particular aspect, in this case, curb ramps, that you're trying to achieve in that particular area. This one is from downtown Metro. The guidelines can go into great detail on things like separated bike lanes. And again, a good jump from the master plan and the complete street guidelines into those code revisions. One of the things that perhaps has been missing, I think the active transportation master plan that was put together has helped fill that gap, is Okay, you say you want this, here's how you build it, but then how do you actually design it? You know, how should that path actually run along the street? What are you looking to do as opposed to, well, it just needs to be 10 feet and 10 feet wide. And so some planning guidance is valuable to staff and developers to make sure that we're developing things the way we want. So here's those 3 phases again. Listening first, creating a path forward, presenting the final plan. And each of these will be followed by a post-engagement summary report. And I think, yeah, this is what I was trying to get to as Phyllis was discussing. So they're really going to start with pulling together a lot of what we've already heard. You know, the active transportation master plan, the regional transportation safety plan. We have heard a lot. We do a good job, I think, here at MetroPlan and in our respective agencies of talking to the public. But we want to make sure that we, you know, aren't necessarily starting from scratch, but we got a good starting point. So there'll be things like this website, the advisory committee, Phyllis mentioned, a community advisory group. There'll be another, we just finished describing the complete street guidelines. There'll be a complete streets task force, heavily populated by our staff professionals. Again, taking feedback from these groups, filtered through the consultant to make sure that these guidelines are reflecting what we've heard. There'll be online engagement tools, and then some of these pop-up events now, open houses. So I think we will and can expect a robust program of engagement. Here's a description of that stakeholder advisory committee. This was a presentation to the TAC of MetroPlan, and so down at the bottom, the reference that they'll be invited to participate and informed of discussions. Here's that task force that I mentioned. So again, one of the aspects to make sure these guidelines and the plan work that really pleased to hear from Vamshi and his team is, yes, there's going to be these larger groups, but then they're also going to go meet with like the fire. They're going to go meet with Public Works and hear from them firsthand, because I think as we just witnessed in our previous meeting, it's hard to get a lot of detail from everybody in the room when there's 40 people and you have an hour. So they really are committed to sitting down and really hearing what these issues are. And we're committed to bringing, if we can't resolve them, to bring them to you in as coherent a manner as possible. So here's that phase 3 implementation and some of the elements there. And there's a lot of aspects to implementation. We want to see strong capital improvements planning, prioritization schemes coming out of this. As I mentioned, operations and maintenance with costs associated with those and best practices. Updates to engineering standards, starting with the last cap. One of the things that's come up a lot in our scoping discussions is the transportation impact analysis. As developers come in and their impacts of their projects are evaluated, is there a way we can streamline that? We expect, and I think expectation is the right word, that by virtue of the master plan and the guidelines and the new codes, it will be much more clear what is expected from them. But we're also looking for that evaluation process to streamline. So it's more efficient for staff, more efficient for them. Housing costs are an issue that we're all concerned about. Missing a construction season because of a review process adds a lot to costs, the carrying costs for the developers, and as well as inflation. So funding, we talk a lot about grants. We've been very successful with our regional transportation plan influencing past transportation tax discussions, and hope that these two products, the RTP and the master plan, uh, engender further discussions. The road repair and safety initiative for, I think, the city and county, or the county and the county's version, expire in 34. So not too far after this is done. And as we look at this, maybe perhaps more exhaustive evaluation of both capital operations and maintenance, are we going to kick off conversations for what future taxes look like and when we address those? The other piece is to really look at developer participation. You know, that transportation impact analysis is really the venue or the vehicle for establishing that, but we really don't, I think, have a very good grasp of just how much in the aggregate developers are contributing to the transportation system. And, you know, I think on the one hand, it's kind of fair to them to look at what's contributing, but also are there more efficient means or effective means of bringing those resources to bear and planning around them. So we're trying to take as comprehensive a look at the funding in terms of the implementation as well. So I'm going to pause there and see if there's any questions from you all, and then go back to Vamshi.
Any questions?
I just have a comment. Thank you, David. I see your, the list that you're gonna be targeting as far as getting them updated or giving them information. A lot of times, I think, you know, a lot of people have their own things that they do that, you know, distracts them from being at these public meetings and stuff, but I just want to say that, you know, really having open houses has been a big plus for the county. Where the staff are on in the area and they're, you know, answering all the questions right then and there. Then after that, you know, we do a little article and we'll call it David's Corner. But anyway, you know, just give a little mini update about what the progression is, where things are, or just anything that we need to share. I think that will, you know, we get a lot of calls sometimes on that, you know, people asking questions. So I think that that might be one of the things that we might consider, you know, in the listing that you have there.
Excellent. So what I heard was open houses are valuable to constituents in the county, but also that there's some newsletters and other venues that we should take advantage of. And I know some of the newsletters I get from county supervisors are very well done. So, you know, if we can be part of that, I think that would be exciting and very welcome. Oh, thank you. So as I wrap up and get back to that very lengthy motion that we want you to consider, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, expectations of both the MetroPlan board and city council, and reiterate that we are really looking at, you know, there's a city plan and city products that will be adopted by the city. So there is a real city focus here. It's in some ways we're the consultant, we're managing the consultants on behalf of the city. That said, MetroPlan, it's a MetroPlan grant. We'll be managing that grant. We have the kind of the primary responsibility for the consultant, and we're getting our mandated regional transportation plan out of this. So you know, both bodies will be heavily engaged. We have worked hard to make sure that the city is plugged in, both with Chris here on the project management team, this project oversight committee with city management, city leadership. We're looking for people like Paul Mood. Paul, I don't know if you knew that, but we're looking for you. Michelle McNulty, as well as city management, to be involved in that, to make sure that the products are going to meet their needs. And then, as we mentioned, there's participation in the task force and invitations to participate in the other groups. We will be coming with milestones to the council, the executive board, supervisors, Mountain Line Board of Directors as needed. But we're also committed to trying to keep you updated and informed. Really want to get down to this, I think they're called city council reports, 1 or 2 page briefings that really get to, here are the issues that we're facing or the resolutions that we've reached, so that you're advised, and then getting before you at that 3-minute public participation to say, hey, this is coming, want you to be aware. And yeah, that goes out to a wider audience too, but that's really to make sure that, if there's something we're missing in the process, you're aware of the process and have the means then to get back to us and say, course correction. So that kind of gets us to the executive board where, yes, you'll be getting those milestone updates in greater depth, but we'll also be here monthly at our regular meetings. And this is a big deal. And so we expect this will probably be on the agenda, and really hope that the board becomes, that this board meeting becomes a place to really hash things out. We should have, could have 3 council members present and an opportunity for you to discuss this. Yes, it's a public meeting, and yes, occasionally, like today, we have public. But generally speaking, it's more focused on transportation, on the topic at hand, and it's not as public. And so maybe it's an opportunity to have some fairly candid discussions with, your peers at the county, state transportation board. I think coordinating with the state is going to be a big topic. It's really an opportunity to kind of play things out a little bit. And then if there's more that we as a consulting team, management team need to do in preparation for that next milestone, we're fully aware of it and can meet those needs better. So with that, I want to pause before we get to the motion. Vamshi, Phyllis, any closing comments? And then I do want to give, Chris Fair, who's really been a great asset and great partner through this, to see if he has any comments. So Vamshi or Phyllis?
No, thanks, Dave, for engaging us, and thanks for selecting us. I just wanted to mention to the board that, we really want to make sure that this project is a success. We want to make sure your vision kind of comes through in the deliverables that we provide to you guys. And as Dave mentioned earlier, please treat us as an extension of MetroPlan and the city staff. And we truly want to be your partners, and we're really excited to be part of this project. So thank you.
Chris, I'm going to go ahead and look to you and see if there's anything that you'd like to add as we've traveled this journey together.
Sure. Thank you, Dave, and good afternoon, members of the executive board. Dave, I think you did an excellent job summarizing our process and what we're working towards so far. And I just want to acknowledge that I think it's almost funny that we're, at a contract initiation point, because that kind of makes it sound or gives the illusion that we're at the beginning of an effort. But, we've been so deep in this for a year now. And, even since Kittleson has been on board, it feels like we've had so much back and forth with them, and they've been great and super supportive so far. I want to express thanks to MetroPlan as well for how much work they've put in to help develop this very important city topic. This was born from a $500,000 allocation in our budget to create our transportation master plan. And now it's grown into something that's, so much bigger and could pack so much more of a punch. So that's about it from me, but very excited to be moving this forward.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks. Shall we move to the motion, please? Are you ready, Madam Chair?
All right.
Okay, so we are recommending that we approve the master contract, that you approve the master contract with Kittleson Associates for the State Streets Master Plan and authorize the director to execute task order 1 in the amount of $2,038,847, inclusive of a 15% contingency, and delegate authority to the executive director to shift funds between components. Those are those 8 components listed earlier. And use the 15% contingency pool with approval from project partners. Again, that's that project oversight committee, as outlined in the project IGA. So, Madam Chair,
Thank you. I'm not going to repeat that, but can I get a motion? For a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Looks like that carries. Thank you.
excellent. Congratulations to Kittleson Associates, Bamchi. You got to get to work.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks. Yeah, thanks, everyone. We look forward to working with you all.
All right. Take care.
David, thank you for that presentation. I thought it was very well thought out and easy to understand, and I see where you're going with it, and I just appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Moving down to consideration and possible action regarding election of chair and vice chair for MetroPlan Executive Board. Yeah.
Madam Chair, members of the board, it's that time again to decide who will chair and vice chair the board for the next calendar year, January 1st, 2026 through December 31st of 2026. In the staff report, there's some information about the bylaws. Certainly, there is an option for our current chair and vice chair to continue in their roles if they would like to. Or if the board would like to put forth other nominations, they may do that for you to consider. And I would be looking for a motion. It can be done as one motion to elect and name a chair and vice chair for the next year, or you may do that in each position.
As Chair, would just like to let the board know that I did speak with the current chair and vice chair, since they're eligible to continue. Both have expressed a willingness to continue in their roles if the board so chooses. To add on to that, it has been such an honor to be chair, and I would like to continue.
I think, yeah, I'd like to also continue, only because I think it's very important to have the city and the county work together closely, and that, you know, we serve the same communities and all within Coconino and also the city. So I just want to say, I'm open to that, you know. So thank you so much, and working together allow.
Here, it may be easiest if we go one at a time, elect a chair and then elect a vice chair. Okay. So do I have a motion to elect a chair? Does anyone want to nominate anyone? Thank you.
Madam Chair, I nominate you as our chair, continuing for another year.
For a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Where she changed her mind.
Yeah. I need a little stool for underneath my. My feet are dangling when I sit. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that would be unanimous. And now I would like to see if we have a nomination for vice chair.
Madam Chair, I nominate Vice Chair Supervisor McGay to continue on for another year.
I'll second.
Wonderful. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That's also unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We are on to discussion items. Update on key performance indicators. Okay.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board. This is our quarterly report on our key performance indicators, which are tied to our strategic work plan. So the first item and the first goal in the strategic work plan is to maximize funding for transportation projects and programs. And this is a report as of quarter one of FY26. So a report as of September 30th. So it takes us a little time to compile the data and bring it forward. We have pursued 32 million in grants in the region. So there are still opportunities that are open and we are pursuing them. Because it's early, there haven't been that many awards yet. And I will say awards have slowed down. So we've received 1 million in awards so far. That's there were 3 grants pursued and 1 awarded for that breakdown so far. So a lot of pending applications at the moment, or a lot of value of pending applications. You can see that graph will jump up every quarter at the end there. But I think the summary here is really that we are still pursuing a lot of the opportunities as they open. The cadence of which the grants are opening has slowed, and so we're not making applications quite as quickly, but we are doing so. I think the shutdown has delayed the opening of some additional NOFOs and the award of grants in that timeline. So hopefully we'll see some more soon. And I can say that since this is September 30th, there is progress in October, so we'll see some more. The other part of this particular goal is to adopt a legislative agenda and then pursue it, and then to have clean audits. So we did adopt an agenda in October. We are working towards advocating for the things that are in the agenda, both at the state and federal level. And then we have started our FY25 audit. Big thanks to Tammy for getting everything submitted. And we'll have an on-site audit in December. I'm happy to answer questions on that topic or turn it to Dave for the next.
Any questions for you? Hey, David.
All right, the next goal to discuss is the delivery of plans that meet partners and community needs. We measure this by a number of means. First is the involvement of our stakeholders in scoping throughout the entire process. I think we just had a good presentation on how we've involved stakeholders in the development of this Safe Streets Master Plan scope, and continue to do that in many of our other products. Really haven't initiated any new plans or projects where we're looking at participants in a demographically reflective way. I think you will hear about some events and outreach for different programs. Really no new data sets either at this point in time, though I am excited to report because of the efficiency of staff in delivering the vulnerable road users project. We were able to take some of that funding and go out and collect, I think it's well over 100 pedestrian and bicycle counts, which has really been a hole in our understanding of how transportation is used across the region. So those are just coming in. We're really excited about what we can learn from those. We'll have those posted to the website in this current quarter. And then policies and projects, really, this has to do some of our internal procedures associated with strategic grants and P2P in particular. So as far as how we're doing, this is kind of our dashboard. We're done with Route 66. We're done with local match. We are really close to done. Next month, yes, with vulnerable road user safety plan. Safe routes to school continues to make progress. The light gray arrow is where we were last time we reported and where we are now. So you can see we're moving into that plan development and safe routes to school. And then Safe Streets Master Plan, here we go. on our way, and we'll look forward to pushing that needle forward over the next 2.5 years. So any questions on our plans? We have a question from our public.
I haven't gathered the pedestrian and bicycle data.
Yeah, so it was a video capture, so it should be highly accurate. I actually talked with the consultant, asked, saying, are you using AI? Says, no, that's still really not very good, believe it or not. And so they actually go through it all by hand, which was, I'm glad they did it and not us.
And what's that? Key intersections, whole intersection, part of town, like trying to get
Yeah, so
down.
it was, the money was vulnerable road users. And then we also have the safe routes to school plan going. So we tried to focus in and around schools, which they're pretty well distributed. So we're all over the region. And we tried to do it across a variety of facility types, both local roads as well as arterials, a handful of trails. And so hopefully we have a good representative data set that we can do a bunch of analysis.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, our goal 3 is to build MetroPlan's visibility in the community. We still have some teaching to do in terms of letting the public know who we are and what we do. All right, but we have been out in the public and it's been great. We've had a number of public outreach events that we have attended. This includes Science in the Park, and then Kim hosted a series of bike safety trainings for older adults. We have our total number of participants from those events. Looking at item number 3, we are continuing to see our social media grow, and we'll discuss that here in a minute. A lot of that growth is coming from our Safer Peoples campaign. And looking at item number 4, this is really focused on our e-newsletters. This quarter, we had 3 newsletters, and those reached over 1,200 folks who are signed up. So very exciting to see these numbers grow. In the past, we've always seen Facebook perform substantially better than Instagram. But now that we have a lot of videos out, we are seeing our followers grow and interactions and comments. So that's really great to see. Once again, I think that goes back to our Safer Peoples campaign, as that is our main media at this moment. Additionally, we are seeing a little decline in website visits. Not worried too much about that, just because we don't have any major projects that we're directing folks to at this time, but expect that number to go up, especially with the Safe Streets Master Plan and other fun projects to come. So I will stop there. I think that's it for me. See if there's any questions.
Any questions, board? I have a comment. We're hoping to close down Aspen frequently for Art Walk and other events. And I loved it when we were at the one, and I just, even if it's not focused on transportation, we're still closing it. It's still showing that, there are options and we don't have to drive to our destination. You get what I'm saying? So keep that in mind that, as a downtown, we are talking about trying to do that more often. And then I'm wondering if another way to reach out would be to the neighborhood organizations. I just feel like there's a lot of good community input there, and telling them who we are and what we can do to help them might be good. And I don't know where you're doing that, but
Got a little bit of it going. But no, really love the idea of those the street being closed on Aspen. I think it's a great opportunity not only for education around safety and infrastructure, but also we're obviously going to have this huge plan come out. So being able to reach those people in person will be great.
Question, the graph up there on top on the upper right,
Yes.
can you elaborate a little bit on that regarding websites? It seems like there's a.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yo, I can definitely do that for you. So through all of our advertising and social media posts, we direct people to our website for more information. I think that number has dropped a little bit just because we haven't had any major projects where we're promoting, gathering public outreach at this time. And transitioning them over to our website to get that more information. So that's why there's that little bit of a decline in the folks who are visiting our website.
Madam Chair, I also just remind you that during this period of government, we had a week where the website was down. Yes. So we lost an opportunity to capture the visits. We were directing people to the website, but they weren't landing there. So I expect to see, as Medea mentioned, that we would see the website numbers increase for next year.
Thank you, Tammy, for that reminder. We have a public comment. Question.
I was just wondering, if one of those events was the NAU transportation.
That will be shown in our next quarter. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing any other questions or comments.
Thank you all.
Hello, Chair and members of the board. I am presenting goal number 4, which is to implement programs that encourage mode shift. So I only have one slide for you today. The left image shows basically what we've been doing with the TDM program. You see basically 3 years. We are right now in the gray. So obviously Q1, we haven't done a ton, but we're still out there. We've had some walk to school day and some educational events. But I promise you will see that number go up as I'm out there. And then on the right side of the screen, that image is it's census data. And so we've included the 2023 data. And I know there's 4 bars, but the maroon, I think it's maroon. It looks different on my screen. I'm sorry. The top bar, that's the 2023 data. And so I just showed multimodal transportation. I changed this from last year just to show multimodal transportation for walking, biking, and transit. And as you can see, our biking is now, we're rocking it, which is really great. And we're slowly getting there with walking and transit. We're starting to recover, but this is really great. So we're not quite to 2019 levels with walking and transit, but we're getting there, which is really great. And then at the bottom are some safe routes to school updates, and I have more for you later on in the presentation. So you'll get more robust information after that. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Seeing any.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we are on the strategic plan update.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. So we adopted our strategic plan in June of 2023, and it largely came out of our advance in 2023. So February 2023 is really when we crafted it. Now I'm second guessing that. No, 3 years ago, essentially 2.5 years ago, we created the strategic plan. It was designed to serve a 1 to 3 year purpose. and set goals for us over that time. It also had objectives. You just went through them in the KPIs, right? The goals and objectives, and then key performance measures by which we would measure those goals. It is not task specific. It doesn't say the details of what we're going to do. We do that through our unified planning work program and our budget. But the budget and the unified planning work program should be tied to the goals of the organization and objectives of the organization. It's also really important for us because we're a small team, and while there are a million things we would love to do, we do need to set some priorities to give us focus so that we can be successful in them. We just went through these on the slides. This is in order. You have them fresh in your brain right now with the goals and objectives that we adopted are and how we're measuring them. And the key question, and not necessarily for today, but please feel free to share any thoughts you have today, is the goals still right? Are the objectives the key things we want done underneath those goals? And are the KPIs effective ways of measuring them for all of you? We are going to send out a survey right after this meeting for you to go through each one of the goals and objectives and give us a little bit of feedback. You love it, you hate it, you think we need to move on from it, or no, it should still be the focus of the organization. We're then going to compile all the information we get. It'll go to TAC Management Committee and the board. And this is going to be a focus of our advance as an update to our strategic work plan. Getting this feedback is really important to us because it will help us gauge, are we looking at a total overhaul of the strategic work plan? Are we just looking at some minor tweaks? Where do people feel like we need to go for the next, ideally 3 years with MetroPlan? So that's really, I just wanted to set the stage for the email that you are going to get. Ask you all to please take the time to take the survey. We are not sending it to partners who are not on the TAC or the management committee or the board. And we're hoping that you all will consult your other partners as needed to make sure that you're speaking on behalf of the organization or entity that you are representing. So that way we don't get 200 survey responses back. And with that, I'm happy to take any feedback you may have now or answer any questions.
Thank you. Any feedback right now? I look forward to seeing the survey, and thank you for the precursor so that we know to look for it, and the board I know will do it and send it in. So thank you.
Thank you.
Transportation demand management update.
Thank you, Chair Sweet and members of the board. I'm back. All right. So transportation demand management, my goal is to, or our goal at MetroPlan is to encourage multimodal transportation. The Safe Routes to School program is under the TDM program. We're trying to encourage kids to walk and bike, educate them, all the things, active transportation, transit, all those things. So here we go. The Safe Routes to School program is the first update that you will receive today. Our Safe Routes to School program has both an infrastructure and a programming component. So here's your infrastructure update. Currently, we are consulting with the Nelson and Nygaard firm. And for the 4th Street neighborhood Sunnyside community, that's one of the infrastructure pieces, task order pieces of that infrastructure grant. They have released a survey, and the survey is to gather input that will guide their preliminary designs for infrastructure improvements in the area. The survey is located on our website, which is up, don't worry. The survey is available in both English and Spanish. And this QR code will take you to the survey. Or if you just go to our website, it will pop up right away. And we're hoping to gather information for parents, teachers, business owners, people who live there, people who traverse through it, anyone, so that Nelson Nygaard really has a good, really good feedback on what the needs of that community are. And then we can move on to the next phase would be analysis. So that is, any questions on that before I move on?
I have one. How are you getting the survey out? I mean, how are people knowing that this is out there to do?
Nelson Nygaard is working with the school district. It has gone out with their peach jar system. They've also gone out to all the schools in the area, Coconino, MEMS, Puente, Killip. Am I missing one? I think Pine Forest. Anyway, I think they're going out and they were handing out little flyers before fall break. And then what else? I think they were trying to get in their newsletter. And then they went to the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association meeting. I will be doing a PSA on the radio with city staff soon. I was supposed to do it Monday, but there was a we need to reschedule that. We will be at Killip's STEM night. So there's a plan
Okay.
of engagement happening. Any other questions? On to the programming side of the Safe Routes to School program. Here you see an image of the roundabout, the new roundabout. This was the image released by the city, which is a great image. As a matter of fact, Tammy and I recreated it at Science in the Park, which I think we did a really great job. You can even see how great that is. So Tammy and I went out to Science in the Park and we talked to parents and staff, the community about roundabouts. So that was our education on roundabouts, which followed a video that we partnered with Mountain Mojo, and they produced a video about roundabouts. You'll see a snippet today that featured children, and it was part of the Safe Routes to School program. And this video was in response to local school principals who voiced concerns about student safety and the potential for confusion at the roundabout due to the unfamiliarity with navigating roundabouts and those beacon crossings. And so we filmed the video, and as soon as it's completed, you're seeing a draft. It's still being edited, but I wanted to give you a snippet. And once it's completed, we're going to give that video to the schools and they can educate. We'll also make it available on our website to educate the community, and we'll put it on our social media. So we followed that up with the roundabout education. Yes.
So say, as someone who uses that roundabout probably daily, I found that it's much better than I thought it was gonna be, the flow. I even went through during school hours and I was afraid I was gonna get backed up, and it wasn't that bad. The one thing, if I would say would be a criticism of that roundabout, is the fact that the centerpiece is all cement. It's too bad they didn't put plants there or something, so that's not so hard. Maybe I'm missing something, but just right now, it just feels a little too much cement and not enough green or gravel, things that won't create so much heat.
And I believe that there will be something that's coming. I believe beautification probably has plans.
We do.
Go ahead.
I just want to comment also, I went through there for the first time the other night. And it was really easy to get through and, drive right through without even stopping. It was, the only thing that I kind of saw was that there was a little bit speeding that was happening in the roundabout. So I'm not sure if that's an ongoing thing. But otherwise, I think that's something that's a benefit to the community all together. So I just want to say that.
That's part of our education, is to have slower speeds in the roundabout. And also to educate the community about the benefits of roundabouts. They are a proven countermeasure from the Federal Highway Administration. And they are proven to reduce roadway fatalities and serious injuries. And that's something that the community needs to know. A lot of people, believe it or not, when Tammy and I were out at Science in the Park, many people had great feedback, positive feedback. I thought we were going to get some negative feedback, and we didn't have any. And once people understand the reason for a roundabout, they get it. They just, which was great. It was a great experience.
Madam Chair, I just want to give a plug for a county employee, Jamie Brown Esplin. She, I believe, was an intern for the city and actually sketched out a roundabout concept for this intersection. And it's really kind of exciting to see it, that it has developed and come to fruition. So you've got a good one.
Something from the city point of view, I think the videos are great. And if you can reach out to Sarah Langley and see if we can post them on our city website. Because roundabouts and beacons over on 66, I think having those videos in circulation for a while would be good on our website. So that, and maybe you already have and I didn't see it, but I think keeping them going because there's still education.
The videos, there are more videos to come.
Okay.
There are a lot of videos to come. And I know that our website is linked on the transportation page, but we can be better at that, definitely. Once all the videos and we have a good landing page, absolutely.
And for us, like on our social media.
100%. Okay.
Ma'am, please. What's Tom? I normally get into Flagstaff, but this morning I was driving on Lockett. And right when I was going, cruising really slow in that school zone in front of that school there.
Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas. And there was such a cute little kid riding a pink bike with a pink thing. And I think just because she was so cute that all the traffic stopped and we all watched her cross the road. It was good to see safety and then the crosswalk person. And it was just, I was like, wow, I can't imagine feeling as a parent or a child to be that safe for a long time. And then I kept going down the road and I got to the roundabout. And then there was two construction trucks, both with flatbed trailers. And they kind of that part on the side of where the library is, they kind of didn't even slow down. They treated it like kind of straight away. And so with that, witnessing that within like a half a mile stretch of road, I saw the child on the little bike and thinking, wow, how safe. And then get to the roundabout and I see those two trucks following each other. And I thought they could have hit somebody if you were trying to do that pedestrian walkway. So, but anyway, I'm commenting that because that's something that I saw and I thought it was extreme safety and extreme danger all in one stretch of road. So I just want to make that comment. But good changes here in Flagstaff.
Are you tracking like incidences that have happened prior to and then from roundabout implementation on? Because that can be some way to give information to the public to say, the year before we put in this roundabout, there was such and such incidences, collisions, if it's trackable, and then how many collisions have happened since and what type. Might be interesting just to, again, education of the general public, because what you hear from the general public a lot is nobody knows how to use them. Nobody knows how to use them. And, bug versus feature, I think often gets lost on the general public because they're like, well, a bunch of people had fender benders and so it's unsuccessful. And then you can come back with, well, nobody died, so that's way more successful than a few fender benders. So just I don't know if it's in particular, this one can be tracked or at least data can be pulled, but future ones going forward to kind of, you know, put some of the general public's worry at ease because they get so worked up about the change. That if you can show them that the proof is the safety increased because we did this change, then it allows people to be like, well, okay, my taxpayer dollar was used well. Even though I didn't think so at the time, but now you show me this data, or at least you have it in comparison, could be helpful to give some of those people the chance to be like, oh, well, you're right, like, this was a better move for the long run. Excuse me, thank you.
Thank you, Dre. I agree. And we do have a lot of data. Thankfully, the VRU, there's absolutely, I agree. And we will definitely track that 100%. On that note, those were kids. Those were kids from Pine Forest and Puente de Hoyo. Okay, more on programming. MetroPlan sent out 3 quotes for $49,999 to 3 consultant firms to create an existing conditions report. And we are pleased to report that we hired AECom for this project to create a consolidated resource for Flagstaff Unified School District, charter schools and agencies, to create a guide for future Safe Routes to School programming and funding. And this scope of work will be to create a succinct, editable, and visual document. It will help us detail the major challenges in the built environment, and we're really excited about this. The document, the preliminary recommendations will come out in December, and the final document will be out in January. And we're really excited about this document, and it will help us form our Safe Routes to School future program. The Safe Routes to School program hired an AmeriCorps. Haley Bishop is the Safe Routes to School AmeriCorps member, and she began in mid-October. She will be assisting the program in the data collection part of that existing conditions report. She is currently out collecting data right now. And we're really excited for her to be part of the team. You'll meet her eventually. And and this is a continued partnership with MetroPlan and AmeriCorps. Aubrey Flores, which helped me with the Cheshire, she was also in AmeriCorps. So this is a really great program, and we're happy to continue with AmeriCorps. On to micromobility. MetroPlan or I partnered with the city staff, and we presented shared micromobility to City Council on October 7th. And the City Council members expressed unanimous support to bring one micromobility shared vendor to Flagstaff through a request for proposals process. And MetroPlan will continue to support and assist the city through this process and help in any way we can. And hopefully we'll have a shared micromobility program here in the future. And lastly, I'm going to close with the Safer People campaign and a couple more videos. The initial contract with with Mountain Mojo is coming to an end, not the campaign, but the contract. We will continue the videos and all the messaging. But it was a really successful campaign. I know there's a lot of data up there, so I'm just going to highlight a couple of things here. So let's see, the post with the most, the most interest was the post in July asking if the public, let's see, it said something like, do you want to stay in the loop on roads and updates in safety in Flagstaff? That was the most interested post. So it highlights that the community does want to know what is going on in Flagstaff. So I think that just, not only do they want to know what's going on and the why. So I think that is something that we need to consider. So I think that's really good. Second most popular post was, yay, the 4th Street Lockett Roundabout is complete. That was the second most popular post. Okay, let's see. This is OTT is over the top advertising, and it's a broadcasting on mixed media. The 86004, which is the dark blue, that had the most impressions, and 118,000 total impressions were delivered, and almost 17,000 households were reached. And Fox News seems to be the mixed media with the most impressions. I don't know, it was all various. It was some online, some streaming, it was a whole bunch of forms of media. And then I have 2 more videos. That was the roundabout at University in Beulah. And that's a really great roundabout. Okay, and lastly, I don't know if you know what those little cutouts are for, but it highlights that really great infrastructure that you can use. So it shows all the different ways you can use the roundabout as a cyclist. And I believe that is it. I'm happy to answer any more questions or
Any other questions or comments?
Why is it that you have to hit the second button? On like, because I think you also have to do that at this hot crossing, right, on Butler? You have to hit it in the middle.
yeah, that's a design of that form of I'm not an engineer. Maybe someone else like Dave Wessel can explain this one.
Yeah, not an engineer either, but it's a question of, and I think still a debate in the industry somewhat of passive versus active pedestrian participation.
Gotcha.
That they really want pedestrians to, be responsible, be paying attention. So they strike the button, they look. They don't just assume that, the traffic's stopping in the other direction and keep walking. The one on Butler at Humphreys, I think we see that quite a bit, especially with distracted pedestrians. They'll hit that first button and then just keep walking and not hit that second button. And so that's part of it. Well, do you accommodate them or do you expect more of them? Still, in some ways, trying to figure out all that, but that's
My opinion on that is like, why are you gonna camp out on the island? Like when you're crossing, you're crossing.
yeah.
Same with being on a bicycle, in particular at that hot crossing. There's like a specific bike cut that is well far past being able to touch the button. So it seems like stopping your progress midway doesn't make much sense. So that's just user,
Yeah, we appreciate the feedback.
user feedback on that.
Madam Chair? Yes. Question. How was it decided that, the voice would be used? I know it's probably a personal, pet peeve on my part, but I feel like it really takes away from the identity and the culture of Flagstaff to use an English accent robot, or I don't know if it's a real person, but no.
I think it was just something different that catches, that you hear, that you don't normally hear. It wasn't intended, you hear the same, it was just something different. And so, oh, different. And you'll listen to it. I think it was just that's why it wasn't, it's not intended to be anything other than something that'll make you listen more and pay attention more.
Madam Chair, I think now what this would seem to me, and I could be totally wrong, but would have been a good time to do a survey. Or do a town hall, I don't know, but yeah, it just seems like if I was watching something on TikTok and I saw something and I would hear that voice, I'd just swipe because I would think it's probably from another country. But yeah.
Any other comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
And in the interest of time, we're almost at 3:00. So we are going to do the financial report and not looking at happening. So we can do a check-in if we have something that's very important, but if not, I'll try and get the meeting adjourned after the financial report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a very brief financial report. We are just at the very beginning of our fiscal year, so we've only completed, I have the report for you for the first 3 quarters of the year, July through September. As you can see on the graph and was also included in your staff report, We haven't collected any revenues yet this year. That is because we submitted a quarterly reimbursement to our partners at ADOT and the Federal Highway Administration. Those revenues will be reflected in the next report for next quarter, and they've already been received. So I thought that might be one of your questions. And then also just to let you know that we are on track with our spending. We noticed that we are a little bit ahead of our benchmark for our travel and training. That is because most of the conferences that we attend are usually front loaded in the beginning of our fiscal year. And less are planned at, in the balance of the fiscal year. So that will even out as we move through the fiscal year. Our other categories, which are salary and benefits, our operating expenses, as well as our special projects, all of those areas are on track and within budget. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments? Okay, so we have a couple of minutes left. Are there any items from the board that are pertinent today?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to let the board members know that I am to run for the Arizona State Legislature, and that I have informed the State Board of Transportation and ADOT Director Todd. So, but I haven't been notified of when I would need to step down. I think that soon as I'm forced out, because I'm not gonna step down willingly, then I'll let the board know.
Thank you for that update, and I appreciate you communicating with us, and it's been a very nice to have you on the board, so thank you. Any other?
Yeah, just want to put a shout out to the team. We went down to the Rural Transportation Summit 2 weeks ago in Sierra Vista, and it was well done. The folks down there did a great job. Apparently we're co-hosting for next year, and so it was great to see what they're doing. But I just wanted to thank Kate, Tammy, and the rest of the MetroPlan team for doing a great job in preparing, and me in particular, but us in general, for that conference and being down there. And so good job, everyone. Thank you.
So our next scheduled meeting is December 2nd, and it's from 1 to 3. And I will ask again, I enjoyed having everyone here in person. If we can keep that going, I think it does help in the conversation, and I just really do appreciate that.
Madam Chair, may I interrupt Virgin Summit and members of the board? I apologize. That is a typographical error. Our meeting is on Thursday, December.
Thank you. Hey, I'm glad you clarified. Don't come on December 2nd. Any other questions? Thank you. I will call this meeting adjourned.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh my God. Just stop. I can't. No, we're here.
I just wanted to make one announcement. The county as staff and others are doing food donations to the